Hello, Joe. How are you, mates?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Great timing, Joe, because we were just we were talking about our Rodman and Pippen personalities, players that we played with, talking about the Last Dance, and I did see I think it was on Twitter about a month ago.
Yeah,
you had this pose where you'd obviously worked out for about 2 hours, and you had your shirt off, and you said something like, "Look at the rack on this." Is that right? What was that all about?
let me get it up. It was basically a plea. I was begging for some weight equipment, and it was actually a face swap. So I face swapped my face onto Jason Statham's body.
Oh, brilliant!
And basically been like, can anyone help me maintain this? I reckon I'm probably in better shape.
And mate, did they come calling? Did you get the help?
They are. No one directly, but I had one of my old friends who used to work at Maximum Muscle, Mark Morgan.
Yeah.
He put me in touch with Raze Fitness, RAZE, and they messaged and they're like, "Yeah, we're keen," and sent me over a couple of plates, 4 plates, a couple of bands, and what else did I get? And a medicine ball. So they sorted me out straight away, which was.
Do you not get any weight? Do you not get any weights off the club then?
We do, but you're
not a big one for weights, are you, mate?
I'm more of a runner.
The speed equipment.
I was ill, so I think I had coronavirus just as we went into lockdown. So I was wiped out, socially isolated.
They didn't want you infecting the equipment.
No, exactly. For the 2 weeks when the equipment was given out, and also I thought I'd let the big.
You've not been tested then, so you didn't have it.
Well, my fiance is a doctor, so she's been working hard, but she got struck down with it as well. It's tricky if you're both in the same house not to.
Yeah.
Kind of, we tried to distance in separate rooms and stuff like that, but she was in hospital for a few days with appendicitis, which was, I think, a kind of side sidekick to the COVID. But it's tricky, but we're fine now, being able to work out a fair bit and just kind of building up my running my running rehab. So it's not too bad.
Earlier on in the show, I was plugging my own Skills Guru videos. So I'm doing basically passing sessions. So I do like to say
it's not a spin passing one, because they didn't in his day when he played.
No. They were playing with the ball about 5 times heavier back in your day.
They were, but anyway, I basically, if you have a look, you might learn a bit from when I coached you years ago. People ask me who I coach, and I do mention you along with other people. So listen, it's great to see you prolonging your career, going to Gloucester, and the amount of tries that you score were absolutely fantastic. So how influential, firstly, was I in your career? And secondly, what's it like being at a new club at Gloucester and being playing with a new team?
Yeah, I've been blessed over the years to have a number of very good scrum half coaches. So I have had a wealth of an embarrassment of riches there. I think you probably were the one that worked most one-on-one. I think you were just you were considering what you were going to do next in your life, and I think I approached you, but I remember you you driving down to our training ground in Twyford for an hour session almost weekly, or I would drive up to you. And I do think my skills improved incredibly. That was one of my workouts back in the day. So my passing and kicking and stuff like that, and we had plenty of hours out on the training pitch. And
just on the training pitch, it sounds like you had plenty of hours in the bedroom, mate. This is a proper loving. This is, isn't it? Oh, my skills improved, mate. Everyone knows. Everyone knows, Simo, that a number 9 is nothing without his number 8.
A number 9 is but it works
absolutely nothing. You're only half the player without your number 8, aren't you, Simo?
Yeah. Well, listen, Nick. We're talking to an intelligent back here. You don't need to sort of like make it down and dirty.
But I'm just jealous. I'm just jealous, mate.
I do remember though, Joe. I remember because I saw how fast you were, and this is like I think I'd retired for 4 or 5 years. So I remember doing the skill sessions with you passing, and then I said, "Come on, let's have a little race. I just want to see how quick you really are." And you went, "Yeah, all right." I said, "Well, okay." So I said, "Let's make it 15 yards, right?" And I said, on one condition, that I say go, right? And I do remember thinking, if I say go, I'm definitely going to beat him over 15. And I'm not being funny, Nick. I got to 10 yards, 10 meters, and he'd finish 15 meters.
Mate, I've played against him many times, mate. I do believe it. It's ridiculous.
It was great. But
Simo, we had Louis Rees-Zammit on a few weeks ago. Speed tests, genuine answer now. You got nothing to prove to nobody. Okay. Who beats who?
He sneaked it, unfortunately. We're GPS'd up every session at Gloucester, and our Thursday session is our speed session. So that's where they want us to hit our PBs, get fresh, feel good, run fast into the weekend. And I think I had the fastest speed in the squad for the first few months. Then the track started to dry out, and he got a PB. He was the first person to hit 5 meters a second or something like that in the squad. So he sneaked me by like 0.01 of meter per second halfway through the season, unfortunately.
All right, so you're still in the top two, mate. Still in the top two.
But we've got some quick boys at the squad. Ollie Thorley's quick. Charlie Sharples is quick.
You got Johnny May coming back as well this season, haven't you?
Johnny May, he's not a slouch. So we've got some explosive backs.
So look, all I could see when I saw you the first few games for Gloucester, though, all I could see is you scoring tries. I was like, holy cow, that's brilliant. So that must have been a real buzz, especially what's it like being new crowd, the shed, new environment, new team. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I always love playing in front of the shed as a Wasp. You both know that there's some grounds that you get a great atmosphere. Others can be a bit dead sometimes, and you don't get that buzz back. But you know,
Allianz Park, yeah,
Allianz Park, yeah, maybe
Vicarage Road, yeah,
AJ Bell. But the Gloucester crowd are fantastic. They obviously they're extremely positive. They've maintained their noise throughout the season, even though we weren't going that well. But yeah, just to get a couple of early tries. We weren't playing the proper matches, so we're only playing the LV matches, which don't really count. I think Hask referred to them. He didn't realise what LV cap matches were for the first 10 years of his career. It was only when he started getting a bit old and slow that he started having to play. And he was like, hang on, I thought this was the Louis Vuitton Cup. I've never heard of this. This is when I meant to be in Dubai, sunning myself.
Getting a free bag. Mate, Simo, you've been around the game a long, long time. And fortunately and unfortunately, what's been happening in this lockdown, you've probably watched a few, is they've repeated old games. And when I say old games, I don't mean sort of back in 1990, probably 5 years, 6, 7 years old. And you watch and you go, wow, the game has changed a lot even from then. And you were playing, back then. I remember you coming to the World Cup in 2011. In terms of the role of the 9, in terms of your primary attributes you need to bring to the game, has much changed for you, do you think?
I think it's pretty similar. Now there's a bit more creativity allowed. You have a bit more difference. I remember coming into the Wasps setup, and this was when Wasps were extremely successful. And all they wanted the 9 to do was just pass to the 10 in between the 15s, and then pass to the 4s round the corner and get into the 5s. And that's all they wanted to do. You basically had to be fit and get there. Now there's a lot more pressure on the 9 shoulders when you're kind of guiding the team around the pitch. The 9 probably is the one that takes the main role in exiting these days.
Yeah.
As the kicking game's got to be stronger. I feel just like the physicality around the pitch. I remember when I first started playing, I wasn't particularly big, but when you play against a team, you knew there would be 3 or 4 guys who would smash you, 3 or 4 real physical, top class players. But then there were quite a few people that were just kind of hanging in there and didn't kind of pose a massive threat. Whereas now, whole squads are absolute freaks. The physicality of it has gone up immensely. So it's a bit more trying.
It has. This brings me on to a point. We've debated this, myself and Brax. Look, we don't know when rugby's going to be back, Premiership rugby, but a lot of sounds, clearly the clubs can't agree to how long the boys need to be back in training to get up to match fit, level and, get their physiques back to what they were. Myself and Brax think, actually, why do you need to get up to that level? Because wouldn't it be actually not a better value product maybe, but actually much more interesting on the eye? If, say, you just had 3 weeks to prepare yourself and you had the natural athletes come through, or the natural guys that have kept themselves fit and fast throughout this period, the ones that haven't, and actually it was a little bit more like it used to be 20 years ago, where someone like you could probably exploit the less fit or the less sort of gym monkey type players, the ones that put the bulk on. And I don't know what your thoughts are. You'd probably prefer that, wouldn't you, if they didn't have sort of 8 weeks to get back into the same physical shape they were before?
Whatever gets us back up to 100% wages. I think it's a tricky one. Obviously, the game has become so much more professional than it used to be, and we've still got a long way to go. The boys, pretty much, you can play rugby after a couple of weeks training, but you're not going to be fantastic. I don't know what they're trying to hold back. Possibly there's going to be injuries. So if you rush boys back in and you've got particularly if you've got internationals, and there's a whole culpability aspect. So if one of our internationals goes out and tweaks a hammy, treats the groin, and they'll be like, well, I've had 2 weeks pre-season, and no sports scientist would recommend 2 weeks pre-season straight into games. So I guess they have to cover their own back, and you have to protect the players. But at the same time, we're rugby players, and you do put yourself at risk every time you go on the pitch. And I mean, we want to get back playing. We want to be able to do our jobs. And I'm sure the crowds, which aren't going to be there, are going to be able to watch on TV, will be desperate for some live sport. So it's such a tricky one, and I'm glad I'm not one of the decision makers having to make those tough decisions, because whatever they do, there's always going to be 40% of people that think they're wrong, or there's always going to be. It's just a grey area, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the sort of feeling with the wage reduction, 25% on block, and do you think now it looks like it is here to stay? And beyond that, sounds like your coach is going, obviously, and is it uncertain times as a player, and certainly at Gloucester?
Definitely uncertain times as a player in the whole league, actually pretty much throughout the world. The 25% wage cut, I think, as players throughout the whole squad, you understand if you're not playing the games and you're not bringing the revenue in and the TV money in, then it's tough for the clubs to survive. And at the end of the day, we want 12, 13 clubs surviving this. So we have a stronger league, we have a better experience, and you don't have a whole load of players becoming redundant all of a sudden. So we want the clubs, first and foremost, to be back playing. You can look at it in two ways. One way of looking at it is it's kind of the owners effectively have bought a rental property. If you want to do something property wise, I know Kyran likes his properties, and sometimes the price goes up, sometimes the price goes down, but you still have to keep paying the mortgage. And I guess some of the players feel like if you are back playing, the owners may have to kind of stomach a bit of that and realise that they have to put their hands in their pocket. But then if you're playing to reduce stadiums and you're not getting the income, then it's tricky to justify the goalposts have shifted like no one could ever imagine. So there's arguments for both sides. We want to get back playing, and then kind of that's the time that we can have the discussion on wages going forward. I understand some teams want to cut the salary cap, which is understandable if less income is coming in year on year. But I'm hoping that within possibly a season and a half, the attendances will get back to normal, the TV money will get back to normal, and we will kind of crack on at the same level we once were. But there is a lot of uncertainty out there.
And your coach, last words?
And our coach, he was fantastic. Yeah. I sent him a message and he sent me an audio note back. he was a breath of fresh air. He always had a smile on his face, a positivity. He was very kind of tried to be emotionally intelligent with the squad, tried to keep the squad up. We didn't have the best run of games, but you understand that nothing does last forever. We did have a poor run of form, but it seems like he had an opportunity abroad, which was exciting. And sometimes you have to kind of make that brave decision. So I understand why he has gone. I understand why the club would have wanted him to stay, but also it's tricky for someone as good as Johan is in his kind of managing players' emotions. If someone's had their head turned, it's also tricky to keep them on board when that's such a major role of his, is to keep the squad kind of positive and happy. So it's a tricky one. I really do appreciate my time with him, but it'll be interesting to see who the club promotes or bring in there. I know there's a few names banded around there, but there's going to be a big change for everyone.
Great stuff. Well, Nick, well, thanks for your time, mate. And
no worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you, and real eye opener. And thanks for your kind words about when I did some sessions with you. And yeah, have a look at Skills Guru. Another plug. Have a little look. There's some little tips in there. Thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Joe, mate.
Cheers, boys. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
See ya. Bye.